Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dr. Robinson again, and we're going to continue our studies. Please watch our show, Math Time, on Tuesdays from 4:30 to 5 p.m. on Optimum Cablevision Channel 15. We also have YouTube videos available, so check us out. My channel name is Dan Robinson, so take a look at our latest release, PKMS Math Prep 18. We're working on Math Prep 19. Subscribe to our channel. I think you'll like it. Give us a thumbs up on the videos that you like, and give us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. You can tweet me at drobmath1. All right, so let's get into our topic, composition of functions. I have a little video I'll be sharing with my students in class, so let's find out what a composition is. Composition is a binary operation in which one function follows another. That is, the second function is applied to the result of the first function. All right, so we have f parenthesis g parenthesis x parenthesis parenthesis. That is another way of saying f of g of x. So we'll determine how the composition is found based on those sayings, f of g of x. Sometimes they call it FOG, a little abbreviation for f of g of x. So that's the f composition of g of x. So the little letter O spells like fog, but that's not really an O. So the rule is to treat the innermost function first. So we're going to take a look at our first example. We're going to try it together. And if f of x is equal to 2x and g of x is equal to x plus 4, evaluate f of g of 3. So here we have a g of 3. So they didn't have f of x, they had a 3 in place of the x. So we want to find out what is that value of the function g of 3. So let's grab that, g of 3, and let's grab the g function, g of x function. Notice they replace the x with the value of 3. So I'm going to replace this value with a 3 as well, and then take the 3 and add it to the 4. So that's all I'm doing, is replacing the x value of the g function, g of x, replacing the x with the 3, and replacing that equal to 4 plus 3, which is 7. And let's put out g parenthesis parenthesis. So g of 3 is equal to 4 plus 3, or 3 plus 4, which is equal to 7. Sorry. So undo that. I go back. Okay. And that is equal to 7. So we've just figured out what the g of 3, or the innermost stuff of the function f of g of 3 is. So this inside would really be f of 7 is what they're really trying to say. So that's what they really mean, because we found out how much is g of 3. So now all we have to do is figure out what the f function is. Well, here's the f function over here. F of x is equal to 2x. So let's change color. And f of x is equal to 2x. And now remember, we now know that f of x is going to have a replacement of f of 7. Because where did we get the 7 from? Let's clone this. We got the 7 from the g of 3 when we solved it for 7. So now we're replacing the x in the f of 7 function, and we're going to figure that out. That's equal to 2x, and that means 2 times x. And we remember have to replace now x with the number 7, and that'll be equal to 2 times 7, which is equal to 14. So we've just figured out this function here, its value is 14. So we first go over to do the inside of the function, the g of 3, that was equal to 3 plus 4. We replaced the x with 3 and added 4 to it. That gave us 7, which was the innermost part of this. So the inside of the g of x was 7. So now we go to the f function, which was 2x, and we replace the x with 7 this time, and that'll be 2 times 7, which is 14. So f of g of 3 is equal to 14. That was a good question. Here's one for you to try. See if you can find the value for f of g of 2. So give it a shot. Here's a good one. You can pause the video for a second and work this out. This time we have two functions. F of x is equal to x plus 5. G of x is equal to 4x. And this time we're trying to find the value for f of g of 1/2. So we have a fraction this time. Good question. So try and see how you're doing on it. So let's go on to our next question. Check your understanding, of course. See if you understand what's going on, because maybe I went too fast. You might want to rewatch the video, write down questions that you may have, and we'll answer them in class. Here's another question for you, and this time, again, we're using f of x equals x plus 5, g of x equal to 4x, and this time we went backwards. We started with the g of x outside as opposed to the f, because usually it's f out there. But here our inside is equal to f of x, f of 1/2. Well, we better go to the function f of x. Notice again, we're going to replace x with that fraction. So 1/2, let me get it good, still in red. Good, so 1/2 is now going to be inside my parenthesis. So let's put that in parenthesis. And that's going to be equal to 1/2 plus 5. So f of 1/2 is equal to 1/2 plus 5. So now we're trying to figure out what in the world is the value of this function. So we're working on the inside first to figure out what is it equal to. So 1/2 plus 5, well, that's just 5.5. And I like to get around the fraction by using a decimal, because half is another way of saying 0.5, so I'm going to say 5.5. So this inside here is only 5.5. So that's all that is inside stuff is equal to, and hopefully we can be able to figure out what is g of 5.5, because we know f of 1/2 is really 5.5. So we're really trying to find out what is g of 5.5. So let's change color. So g of x is the function now, and that equals to 4x. So now we have to substitute the 5.5. Let's clone that. Inside of the g of x. So g of x, or g of 5.5, and parenthesis, is equal to 4, and we're going to substitute again. Instead of writing x, we're going to replace that with what we now know the x's value is, which is 5.5 that we got from the f of 1/2. So let's substitute that. Let's clone it one more time and put it in there. So now all we have to do is multiply 4 times 5.5. This is where a calculator comes in handy. So 4 times 5.5. Enter. 22 is the answer. So let's put that over there. Shrink that a little bit. So our answer for this g of f of 1/2 is 22. So that was a good question. It went backwards a little bit, but it was still the same process where you work on the inside function, like orders of operation, start on the inside of the parenthesis, work your way out to the end. Here's a question for you. This time we have two functions and we're going backwards again. We're looking for f of 0 first and then apply it to the g function, g of x function. Check your understanding. Hopefully you're understanding what's going on. If not, write down your questions. You may have to watch the video again because I might have went too fast. Here's a handout that I plan on giving you for homework, and it has some good functions. Here's part of it. So for this function f of x, this function g of x, this function h of x, here we got a bunch of them we got to compute. So let's take a look at what we got here. I noticed we got some like we just did with a negative, and now we have this one. We haven't done this yet. So g or h go or g of h of x or g of h of 24, sorry. So we're going to work on this one. We're going to work backwards on this one. So backwards, yes, because we're working our way inside out. So let's get a pen and work backwards. So h of x, h of 24. So we're going to go to the h function, which is h of 24, and put in x squared plus 1. We know h of x, h of 24, we're going to replace the x with 24 and square it and add 1. 24 times 24 is 576 plus 1 is 577. All right, so let's continue. We got to do the g of 577. So now we got to go to a new function, the g of x. So the g of x is 3x. So let's do that one now. So let me get my pen again. G of x equals to 3x. So I'm going to replace the x with, guess what? 577. Man, it's a big number. And that'll be g of 577. And all I'm going to do is replace the x with, guess what? 577. That's right. Now all I got to do is get my calculator out and multiply 3 times 577, and I am done. So let me get my calculator. Let's clear that. 3 times 577 equals 731. All right, let's erase that. And I want to shrink that a little bit. 1731. Man, big number. So g of h of x, g of h of 24, sorry, is 1731. And there we have it. Good question. So we got a lot of nice problems on the sheet, some negative numbers, and I noticed we got 3 functions here. So you would start on the inside, work your way backwards, you get that answer, try that. Then put that in the f function. Once you get that answer, put it in the G function, and you'll get your answer. So this is a good handout. So please take a look at it, and we'll go over it in class. Check your understanding. Hopefully you're understanding what's going on in the video. Here's some other questions that I stole off the Regents. So see if you can do them. Pause the video and see if you can do them. We'll go over them in class. Here's another one I got from the Regents. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson today and you got something out of it. It was a very good lesson, and I want you to please tune in our show, Math Time, so you can see what's going on. Check out my YouTube channel. I have other videos that'll help you out in your different subject areas. So my channel name is Dan Robinson. Remember, our latest release is Math Prep 18. Very good movie. We are working on Math Prep 19 for this coming school test year. So our Math Time show is on Tuesdays from 4:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. Channel 15, Cablevision, Optimum Cablevision. So check us out. I think you'll enjoy the show. So I hope you enjoyed the video. This is Dr. Robinson. Hopefully I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.